track wrestling here in Waverly, Iowa, the first ever girls state wrestling tournament with 5-time age group world team member Rachel Waters. How cool is this to see? After given what you've gone through in this sport, to get where you are and wrestling boys all the way through your high school career, what's this like for you being here?
This is amazing, especially being here in Waverly. I was just talking to somebody. I wrestled in this gym against boys 2 years ago. Like it's crazy to see that there's this many girls. I was a lone girl on the mat here 2 years ago, and now just it's crazy that there are hundreds. There's so many girls out there, and it's so awesome to see it. Just like I've been putting heart emojis on everything on social media today because it just warms my heart seeing all these girls out here.
Could you sense that there was this kind of interest when you were coming up from other girls out there?
I could sense that there was like definitely an interest, and I think where they kind of struck gold is by getting it so there's multiple girls come out at one time so they can wrestle each other. I think a lot of girls like the idea of wrestling and they are interested in it, but they're not necessarily interested in wrestling boys, and that's totally understandable. And I think that's where they got a lot of them to come. They were like, "Oh, we already have 4 girls out. Are you interested?" And that's when girls became interested. So I think that's awesome, and I'm just so glad to see that there's 12-person teams here today.
What got you into it?
What got me into it was I started with jiu-jitsu, and I was telling a guidance counselor about it at school, and he was the youth wrestling coach at the time, and he was like, "Hey, you should come try it." Well, and he knew I was beating up on boys on the playground, but he was like, "Hey, you should come to practice tonight." And I came home and I asked my mom, and she was like, "Oh, why not?" So I went in with little socks, and I was laying on my back because I was used to jiu-jitsu, but I never looked back. I loved that practice. I think I was smiling for a week after that practice, and I've never turned back.
What were the challenges you faced?
Challenges that I faced was a lot of, "Are you serious?" Like more like when I would go out there, they're like, "Oh, she wants attention. She's not serious about this." And so a lot of what I had to do was prove that I'm gonna work harder than everybody in this room. I'm gonna do everything I can on that mat to show people that I'm here to stay and that I'm here to wrestle, just like everybody else is.
What made you fall in love with it? What were the things that you really appreciated about it?
I just love the fact that it's different than any other sport I've ever tried. I really liked track in high school as well because it was individual. I like the individual aspect of it. I mean, it's a lot more pressure, but it's nice that pressure's on you and you can make the decision. And so that's a main aspect of why I liked it. But then the other thing was from the first practice I ever went to now, I got pushed to a point that I never knew I was capable of. I absolutely love that feeling. Now that's my favorite feeling in the entire world, is to be completely dead and not be able to do another sprint. And they're like, "All right, 6 more takedowns," and I'm like, "What?" But I love being completely dead and not thinking I can keep going and being able to keep going. Could
you sense that there was this tidal wave of momentum that was building for girls wrestling?
I could definitely sense it. I know we had shirts for about 2 or 3 years ago that had Route 66 on it, logo on it, because we had 66 girls out, and so I knew it was growing. I knew when I was in high school I'd like maybe see 1 or 2 girls around, but it was like 5 people, and then it was like 66, and then my dad always likes to run the numbers, and then this year we had close to 200 people, and so I definitely like sense that it was coming, but it's really hard to see those numbers until you walk into the gym and you see all those girls today, and I was like, wow, there are a lot.
When you were growing up in the sport, how many of your friends do you think would have wrestled if it would have been girls against girls, if there would have been something like today that existed then?
Well, I think there would have been a lot of girls, and a lot of girls that are coaches' daughters, that especially they like the idea, and they kind of beat up on their brothers, but they weren't too sure if they wanted to wrestle boys. I think that I had a lot of friends and a lot of peers in school that would wrestle if they had that opportunity.